All right, let's do this thing. For Best Music Coach, my name is Dan. Dan I am. With Green Eggs and Ham, I'm the music teacher about to listen to the Binding of Isaac Rebirth original soundtrack for the very first time. Now, to be clear, I've never heard this before in my life. Together, we're going to discover hidden connections, understand how music works, and have some fun while we do it. Ready? Type it 2 in the chat. If you're ready to go, we're going to do this thing. You say, Dan, your voice sounds odd. Well, it's not even 9 in the morning where I am, and we're going to rock this roll. Here we go. Genesis 22:10 title. Well, starting us off with some very interesting music. I'm not going to comment too much on this. I want to listen to at least one more track before I start making connections and breaking things down. I want to welcome everyone who's watching, everyone who is on Twitch, everyone who is on Kick, everyone who is on YouTube. We are multi-streaming today, so have fun, and I'm so stoked to be interacting with you wherever you are. All right, let's check out Diptera Sonata. Okay. This was really cool. I loved how there was essentially, well, 3 different things that happened here in this piece of music, and they all kind of came together. Indeed, in the key of D minor. Let's break a couple of them down. All right, so we have I made that the last part up at the end, but that's a really fun lick. And so what's happening here is they're in the key of D minor, Ridiculon. They looks like there's 2 of them. They're in the key of D minor and using a D harmonic minor scale is the sound that's pervasive so far. Now, so that was a cool motif for sure. Well, theme, yeah, theme. There was one more lick here. Whatever. That's a cool thing. We have over on Twitch, Incompetent Hero says, I forgot how long these tracks were. I'm so used to blitzing the early levels. And on YouTube, we have Linus Fail who says, oh, cool, catching this live. Felipe F asks a question and says, quick unrelated question, does music school have Latin classes for writing chorus lyrics, or do you just quote some random old church script? Ooh, both and neither. I certainly did not have Latin classes, but I also was not composing. I was playing guitar, is what I went to school for. So, no, I did not have Latin classes, but people who go to school for voice oftentimes will have French, Latin, German, and Italian classes because lots of the repertoire of different periods of classical music are in those different languages. I know words. All right, let's check out Crusade, which is also known as Crusade. Adding my 2 cents in on that back half, maybe not sounding as good as I could, but hey, you know what? I'm having fun. Type a 2 in the chat if you're also having fun, and then we're just having fun, and having fun is what counts. Okay. Crusade, really cool stuff. So what we're hearing right now is that so far, and I believe we heard this also in Genesis too, is that Ridiculon, they're using really what we could call, we could call it mode mixture pretty solidly. So what they're doing is they're taking multiple scales and combining multiple scales into one melody. And by using those multiple scales, and by the way, even the framing of thinking of it as being multiple scales into one melody is not 100% technically how you have to think about it, but is a useful way to think about it. Taking multiple scales, combining them into a melody. So right there, in this piece of music, we heard a G natural minor scale, which sounds like this. We also heard a G Phrygian, which sounds like this. We also heard a G harmonic minor, which sounds like this. So, all three of those sounds came together, and yes, all three of them have notes that are in common with each other, but a couple of extra special little zhuzh notes around. And that's pretty cool. Sounds awesome. All right, let's keep this thing going with Sodden Hollow. Well, that was it almost sounded gross. I like not that the music was bad, but like the feeling that the music gives feels kind of gross. So it was something like, oh, okay, hang on, let's pull it back. So I'm missing half of that. All right, so it's. Ooh. Well, also, I saw some people in the chat saying it sounds like a mushroom trip. I don't know what kind of terrible mushroom trips you're having. I wish you better mushroom trips in the future. If that's it, if like kind of creepy weird is like, I just I give you my best wishes for the future. Yeah. So let's just talk about this guitar part real quick. Right here we have a fourth, two-way. Third. Yeah. Minor third. Two-way. Augmented fourth, tritone. To a major third. And so having those intervals that are, ooh. There's something about having the minor third and the major third between the, yeah, and so really what we can think about is making this creepy is the movements of the half steps between the intervals. So a minor third and a major third, they're one half step different, and the perfect fourth and the augmented fourth or diminished fifth, however you want to think about it, those are also one half step apart. And so it's those movements of half step up and down with the common notes that really creates that ooh feeling of check out the Forgotten. Tasteful dissonance, yeah. So what we're seeing with Ridiculon so far, at least in these first 5 tracks, is sometimes they like to take these melodic ideas and sort of interweave them together. So for example, here in this, the Forgotten, there was the... then it went back to B. which is really interesting because it emphasizes the B. And if I just play that to you, you might think that we were in the key of B minor, but actually underneath all of that is like the key of E minor. Now, we saw in the original soundtrack that there was some movement between the tonic and dominant in terms of starting off in C minor, ending up in G minor. And so we can think of the relationship between E and B as being the same relationship. So C is to G as E is to B. E would be 1, B would be 5, C was 1, G would be 5. All right, let's keep this going with Abyss. All right, and this loops. I was literally about to ask if this loops. Not that I don't enjoy listening to music like this. It's very interesting. I think one of the coolest parts of this is the use of the voices. Yeah, looks like maybe there's a little bit of a build, but let's actually talk about this part right here. This is really cool. How it starts off with a bunch of voices going, bruh, and then it ends up with one voice going, boom, boom, boom. That's so cool. And there's a little beep, beep, boop. Yeah, right, it's like creepy Freddie Mercury. All right, let's keep this thing going with Matricide, not to be confused with Patricide or Fratricide or Sororicide. Let's check out Matricide. Matricide, by the way, is when you jump on your mattress too much and then you break the springs in it. Let's do it. So, you might have noticed while this piece first started, I looked a little confused and I was running my hands up and down on my guitar, possibly with a puzzled look on my face. I'm not really sure what was happening with my face. I was so focused on my guitar. Now, in fact, I was trying to figure out how I could play this. Because, as you may know, I do very much enjoy playing along with these pieces, and I do like hearing the riffs and then replicating them on this here guitar, and sometimes also singing them. Now, here's the thing. The lowest note that I have on my guitar right here, that's going to be an E2. You read it on the music staff as an E3. It's a whole different thing. But this is an E2. And the lowest note they're playing is a C sharp 2. And so my guitar literally did not have the capacity to go low enough to replicate the sounds. But now it does. And I'm going to start a band called Machine Head. Okay, here. So, what it's called when you take a guitar and you take just the lowest string, like I just did, and you change the tuning of it, we call it drop tuning, because you're literally taking the note and dropping it down. And so I started off in what is called E standard tuning, which means E is the lowest and everything's tuned in a standard way. But then what I did is I detuned it down to C sharp. Drop C sharp. A pretty low note and a lot of fun. Sometimes you want actually thicker guitar strings to make that sound better, because these strings are pretty thin, and once you detune them, they actually get more relaxed, so they kind of start flopping around, kind of like noodles, and it's actually a little harder to control them. Like, imagine trying to play an instrument made of noodles. They just kind of like, like the things outside of car dealerships. Okay. Let's do the cam. not a pure loop. New things are happening. I think so. I could be wrong. We're going to go back and double check it. Yeah, so even though this does loop, it's very subtle. So it does loop, and the loop changes very slightly the second time through, I believe. It's very slight. Yeah, it's like one or two more instruments, and some things are turned up maybe just a little bit more. Anywho, now, here is an interesting thing to talk about. We've actually talked about this chord progression a number of times in these video game OSTs. This is the chords that are used for like the haunted mansions in Disney movies and in animated things. If you want to make something, you know, like the thunderbolts, you know, it's like a stormy night and there's thunder and lightning everywhere, and then you see this house on a hill, it'll be like, usually goes faster, and this guitar does not sound very threatening, but these are the chords. And we heard that here as well, and that's going back and forth between a G flat, a G minor, and an E flat minor. And it's that relationship of going to the sixth, the flat sixth of whatever key you're in, and keeping it minor and going down. So essentially descending by a major third. All right. Let's got to handle some moderation over here. And there we go. Okay. And let's keep this going with Viscera, which is not exactly the word I want to be saying while I'm trying to eat my breakfast, but hey, you know what? I'm a big boy. I can take it. Viscera, let's do it. You know, that sounded the most gross of anything ever. Hey, Piper GM. Piper GM asks, how do I donate? Well, if you're on Twitch, if you go into my home channel, you see there's literally a donation or upvote thing. You know how there's different things on Twitch on my actual like home channel, like not the page you're watching on now. That'll take you to Streamlabs, and you say whatever OST you want to upvote, and you donate, and the donation goes to support the channel, and then we upvote the OST. And if you're on YouTube, it's in the video description. There's a Streamlabs link in the video description. You can go and actually click on the link in the description, and take you to Streamlabs, and then you can just donate whatever you want to whatever OST you want, and then we'll upvote it. And that's how we support this channel. That's how we run things. Instead of having like a pay, whatever they call it, Patreon. Instead of having that, we just like donate to it. We upvote it. I got a spreadsheet. I track it all. I do streams where I show you how I'm tracking it. We keep it very transparent and rocking and rolling. I saw someone else in the chat say, wow, Dan has some stamina to listen to this type of music and eat. Yeah, the music sounded pretty gross. However, with my dinner, I take a shot of olive oil. If you can drink a shot of olive oil, you can handle eating some delicious oatmeal with chia seeds, flax seeds, peanut butter, protein, and blueberries while you listen to gross sounds. It's like you sort of you raise the bar on what's not going to make you barf if you can drink straight olive oil. I did a whole blood test thing, and it came back, and it was like, yeah, you should probably drink some more. You should probably eat some more olive oil. And I was like, well, I don't like putting olive oil on things because it's so bitter, and I don't like bitter food. So how am I to get the olive oil if I don't want to put it on things? I'll just drink it. Just drink olive oil. Not like a lot, but like, you know, I literally have a shot glass, pour myself a shot of olive oil, and just drink it. What can I say? I'm a maverick. I'm a maverick. I'm a maverick, I tell you. All right. Actual madman streamer, says Maximiliano. Yes. You might be saying, well, why drink the shot of olive oil? Because the olive oil that doesn't taste like olive oil isn't actually olive oil. If you're having olive oil, it's bitter. The stuff that is like light taste olive oil isn't actually olive oil. You can look all this stuff up. It's on the FDA. Like, this is not a conspiracy. This is all just like well-known food facts. If you're eating olive oil and it doesn't taste like olive oil, it's not olive oil. If you're eating olive oil and it tastes like olive oil, it's olive oil. If you don't like the taste of olive oil in your food, but you should eat it, what are you going to do? Okay. Let's keep going. Senior vet I can read. Senior Verataro says, this is the second streamer I know that drinks olive oil. What can I say? Yeah, olive oil and honey, the labeling and the testing for it is insane. Like, unless you're getting honey, it doesn't matter. Anyway, olive oil and honey are not well regulated at all. Not well labeled at all. And those are two things that you can really be getting something that's absolutely not what you think it is. Anyway, and that, again, this is not like tinfoil hat conspiracy. This is like FDA known stuff. Major news publications have been talking about this stuff for years. Anyway, let's check out Ventricide, which is... Whatever happened to Asajj Ventress? I can't remember what happened to Asajj Ventress. Dooku rejected her, and then she was out on her own. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's check out Ventricide. It's another sick boss fight theme. And again, another thing where the guitar is going way lower than this here guitar is going to go. I'll show you. Here we go. I love how when my guitar goes that low, I'm so not used to having to deal with notes that low. I feel like I can just do anything, and I don't even care what happens. It's like I'm not even playing the guitar. I'm functionally playing a bass at that point from like my mindset. Because the notes are so, it was like a drop B flat. It's like at that point you just need a 7 or 8 string guitar and just like it's a beautiful boss fight theme. Hey, let's keep this going with Acceptance, You Died. Well, what we heard there is something you have never heard me do. Let's see. I gotta go on an adventure. No. Herm. Said the Minecraft guy. Herm. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. It's gonna be worth it. Talk amongst yourselves, class. Ah. Okay. Noise incoming. All right. You don't hear me play slide guitar a lot because, well, it's just not... Quite simply, it's not something that I do. Let's pull it back so I can actually play the right thing here. Okay. And a quick shout out and a thank you to Eugen for your very generous super chat. Do very much appreciate that. Thank you. And I will for sure read that out at the end and make sure that super chat also gets counted. No worries. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have... Oh, gosh. Something like that. But you can tell I'm not playing, like, I know not playing that very well. Slide guitar just isn't one of the things I do. Proven by the point that I had to stand up and go find the slide. So what is a slide? Well, this one's made out of glass, and I much prefer the ones made out of glass, the ones made out of metal. Ones made out of metal, I don't really like the tone. I like the softer, warmer tone that glass gives. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually sliding this piece of glass up and down on my guitar. Something like that. And yeah, so slide. Gets you some crazy sounds. Okay. No, first was some like Led Zeppelin-esque stuff, and then we had that. So, yeah, a slide guitar. Now, we have some long-standing staunch supporters of this channel saying, Dan, it's a Monday. What on earth are you doing streaming? You know, we're about to go into a Christmas break. I'm feeling in the holiday mood. I was like, why don't we do something different this week? So we're doing something different. Here we are. We still will do Wednesday. We've got Mass Effect Trilogy to do. We've got Blasto to do. We're going to have some fun. All right, Anima Vendit. I played my guitar for him, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. I played my guitar for him. There you go. We're getting in the Christmas spirit. Okay, Anima Vendit. I say no deal. Oh, I was just getting into that. Hang on. Take that, DJ. Rewind it back. I was having fun. Nah, I ain't selling my soul. Mm-mm. Real quick, I'm sorry to pause this. I'll start it again. Someone just said in the chat, this song by Evil Michael Jackson. This actually sounds more like his sister, Janet Jackson. She has a song where it's like, I don't she want to. I won't do what she can't do. So much better. I want you so much better. It's like literally almost the same tempo and everything. This is very Janet Jackson. Okay. You know, I don't often listen to music and come away and say, well, that sounded demonic. But I can honestly say that sounded pretty demonic. Like, that was dark. Now, something fun about that was there was actually like a riff going on. There was like, which is pretty cool. So it was G flat, or an A. Wait, sorry, G, A flat, F, G, C, going down to the 4. Now, what's interesting too about this, and I haven't brought this up before, I don't think. In Hindu mythology, there's essentially three big deities, right? So there's Brahma, the creator, Vishnu the sustainer. Maybe I've got them flipped around. Anyway, the last one is Shiva, the destroyer. And Shiva, the destroyer, destroys everything. And to compare Shiva to the Judeo-Christian Satan, I don't think it's exactly an apples-to-apples thing. But what is interesting is one of the chants for Shiva, called the Rudram, it uses in its main part those 3 notes. And it just goes round and round and round. It's just those 3 notes, and it sounds kind of heavy. It sounds like destruction. It sounds like, and you know, if we pull out and zoom out to like a higher level consideration of these themes, and like we think about it in terms of humans, right? Instead of thinking about, you know, different mythologies and spirituality and stuff like that, if we think about it from a human perspective, it's like, okay, we know that as humans we have these higher, you know, the better angels of our nature, where we rise up, we create things, we can democracy, like real democracy, right? Democracy and you know, art and relationships and good communication. Like, we know that there's these higher levels of ourselves, and then we know that there's these really deep, darker levels of, like, you know, not caring what happens to other people, and being usurious and starting wars and like all sorts of things, you know, starting wars for money. Like, there's really, really dark impulses inside of humanity as a group. And I think we can look at these ideas in music, like note-wise. For some reason, those 3 notes seem to summarize a lot of the darkest impulses of humanity. Because you can hear it all the time in video game music when someone's trying to translate a boss or like an evil situation. You'll hear those 3 notes. But not just here, you can also hear that going to other cultures and other religions. So, an interesting food for thought thing. Little synthesis. All right. Let's check out Hericide. Yeah. So my favorite part about this were the congas. Right there. Don't get good. That gun. They don't do the gun. They do the ga. Type a 4 in the chat if you can hear these congas play. This is so fun. Right there. Let's listen to that again. It's so funny because, like, typically when we hear heavy metal stuff, like, you don't hear those types of drum sounds. It's really cool to hear that type of, that's unusual. That is unusual to hear in, like, a heavy metal boss fight. Beautiful. All right, let's check out Murmur of the Harvestman. Another interesting piece of music built around a riff. You're saying, Dan, your guitar sounds awfully low. That's right, I'm playing around with my effects pedal today. We're having some fun. Or something. Okay. Let's check out Empty Vessels, Angel Room. Ooh. So something to point out too is we've heard this idea of where were we? Sorry. Yeah, okay. So a couple times in this OST, and this is not so particular to this OST that we can say, oh, this is a defining characteristic of it. However, we have heard it a couple times, descending chromatic ideas. We heard it again in the early part of this OST a bunch of times, and I'll start pointing them out now because they are clearly coming back and around in some kind of way. So I'll be pointing these out as we go, just to bring your idea and bring your attention to the idea of chromatic descending ideas. So I'm going to explain to you what these are, and then I'll point them out to you as we go. So chromatic, chroma means color, comes from Greek, I believe. Now chromatic means all the colors. Another way of thinking about that is all the notes. So all the notes, it uses all the notes in a row. Would be and if you just use a couple of notes in a row, it's called a chromaticism. Chromaticism. And we have a lot of descending chromaticism ideas here. Yes, accompanied by chords, and yes, you could say it's a bass movement, etc., 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 but at a fundamental level, it's chromatic movement. So, I'll be pointing these out as we go along. And indeed, merrily we go along, go along, go along. Is off to everlasting Hymm we go. Alright, we're going to bring this back. I'm going to play it one time. Okay, so that's hanging out in D minor. Going 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 2, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's how we would think about that. All right, let's go to the next one, which is called Infanticide. No bueno. Let's check it out. So I feel like we've actually heard this melody before, maybe in one of the earlier tracks. Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. We've heard that melody before in this here OST. But please do correct me if I'm wrong. Let's check out Tome of Knowledge. Funnily enough, I almost said Tome of the Unknown. It seems to me that even in the most sort of pretty, benign pieces of music in this OST is hidden just a tablespoon of dread. Okay, so we have many uses of the boss notes and other things. What are the boss notes, you say? Those are our boss notes. Now, we can also hear that guitar part there. What it's doing, it's using two of the boss notes, then going up to the F. And again here, the boss theme, again, is actually brought down. So it sounds lower, it sounds more threatening than all of the other music in the OST. So every time that there is a boss theme, it's essentially, we can think about it as being lower sounding than all the other music. That's part of what contributes to it feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so different. This is the boss, and in addition to all the notes and the production and everything. But one music theory thing to think about there. All right, let's keep this thing going with Capiticus Calvaria. I come every time you come around my London Bridge. Wanna go down like London. Wanna go down like London. Oh, messed up. Oh, that wasn't a boss? Tell me more about how that was not a boss. Because then I've got a poor read on it. Descending chromatic right there. Ah, combat. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment to address a misstep that I made a couple seconds ago. So I said that they were the boss notes. No, in fact, this OST, these are not the boss notes. These are combat notes. Yes, technically speaking, I was correct in saying that they are boss notes because bosses are combat. But anyway, it's not the point. Basically wrong. So it's like, whenever we hear the ba, 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 those types of notes together, we know we're in combat, is what it is. And if you have any questions about the OST, please feel free to pop them in the chat on whatever platform you are on. I'm seeing chats for all platforms. All you got to do is chat it, and I will see it. Okay, thank goodness that's over. Let's check out When Blood Dries. This is what it sounds like when blood dries. Don't mind me. So actually a very interesting track here. So there was one, we're going to call it a motif, which was... And that just moved around. Oh, let me turn that delay off. It's a little distracting. That was it. Ah. It was just over and over again, that one motif moving around for the entire track. So that certainly is what we could call motivic development for sure. So what a motif is the smallest possible recognizable musical idea, which means, yes, technically speaking, that's rather long for a motif, because we could certainly think of a motif as just being... And indeed, we could think about each one of those, call them subphrases, call them phrases, as having multiple motifs, because the, and then the, that could also be a motif. Right, so we have the bidi-da-da, and then we have the bidi-da. So this is motif 1, we could call it bidi-da. And then we could call this motivic development, bidi-da-da. And then we call bidi-da-da. And then just the second now it's bidi-da. So we have motivic development, motif. Motivic development, motif. Start ahead. Yeah. But still, interesting to think about this being one musical idea moved around for this entire piece over and over again. So does everyone get that? Type a 5 in the chat. Lurkers, please type a 5 as well, so I know that you're getting it too. I see we got some people on Twitch, we got some people on YouTube. Type a 5 if you're getting this. Type a 5. Type a 5. If you get the idea of, it's like, so the motif is the smallest possible idea. So the motif is the bidi-da. And then what happens is the first time through we add one note, bidi-da-da, and then we repeat the first idea, bidi-da. So bidi-da, add note, da, repeat first idea, bidi-da. And then the second time we add a note, ba, and then first idea, bidi-da, add a note, da, first idea, bidi-da. There you go. Beautiful. Looks like you guys are getting it. You're crocking it. You're grokking it. You're blocking it. You're Sketches of Pain. Not to be confused with Miles Davis's excellent album, Sketches of Spain. We're 1S short. Let's check it out. Love it. Again, either a combat theme or a boss theme, likely based on the fact that we had and then something. Whatever. You get the idea. I can slap the bass now. Alright, sorry, getting distracted, getting silly. Oh, it is technically kind of boss theme. We'll see. There you go. I feel like finally my powers of deduction have ascended. Yes, that's right. I have achieved Ascension. Well, that was sick. Huh. Wow. Well, I tell you what. I'm enjoying the heck out of this here OST. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break so I can regain some focus. I'm feeling a little drained of focus at the moment. We're going to put a timer on for 5 minutes. And we'll be right back. This stream is brought to you by Best Music Coach. Support this stream by donating on Streamlabs. You can find the link in the description in your video if you're on YouTube. You can also find the Streamlabs dono link on Twitch in my Twitch profile. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to go look at the sun, breathe some fresh air, and I'll be right. I'm not stare directly into the sun. I mean, just like the outside. Don't look directly to the sun, kids. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, y'alls, we're back. That was a solid 5 minutes. I love how some people say 5 minutes. It's not actually 5 minutes. When I say 5 minutes, I like to say 5 minutes. If I mean 7, I'll say 7. When I say 5, I mean 5. Alright, let's check out Devoid, Dark Room. Let's listen to the Fallen Angel Dark Room fight. I'm very excited for this next one. Okay, so just so many interesting things here. I don't know how well versed you guys are in like the symbols and the ideas of Christianity and how that would relate to this, but it's like, okay, so if again, and I'm not saying this within a religious context, I'm saying this within sort of like a clinical context. Like, let's take religion out of it for a moment and just look at the story, if you will join me in this. And I mean this with absolute just respect, and I'm just trying to have a sort of clinical discussion. So if we sort of back away and we understand essentially that we have, in the beginning, we have a creator figure, which people call God, and then we have sort of a lieutenant figure or a partner figure that we would call Lucifer, and then Lucifer rebels against God and Lucifer falls. So the idea of a fall, it's an inversion. So you're in heaven and then you go to the opposite. So it's not even the middle, which would be earth, but the opposite, which would be hell. So the very premise of understanding the concept of what demonic is, it is fundamentally an inversion of something that has already been created, right? So if we operate from the premise that God is the creator, then God's the only one that can create something, and everything else is just, everything demonic from that would be taking something that's already been created and inverting it. So that's why I was asking about the Lamb. It's very interesting because not only was Jesus called the Lamb of God, but if you look at like the book of Revelation, it's like the Lamb with the 7 eyes and all this crazy stuff. But what I thought was really interesting is that the Lamb, the boss fight here, because I saw some people talking about the Lamb in the chat, so I was like, well, what do you mean Lamb? The Lamb is an inversion of the Lamb of God. And then in addition to that, some people too were talking about how it's possible that Isaac is actually a son of Satan, and that would be the Antichrist, which is the inversion of Jesus, right? And so just some really fascinating stuff from like just a story mythology perspective. When we think about the symbols and like even the idea of how this whole story started with, like, God telling Isaac's mother to, just like how God told Abraham in the Bible to kill Isaac, and then God sent an angel to stop Abraham from doing it. It's like, that's a very different God than the God we could read about in like the New Testament. And in addition to that, I think what's interesting too is that if you talk to people who are into, as opposed to worshiping God and worshiping Jesus, people who are into worshiping Satan, a lot of them will, and not a lot of them, but some of them will sort of talk about God and Christianity as being the bad guy. So if we were to take the entire story of the Bible and Christianity, and we were to invert that entire story, so not the component parts as we just talked about, we zoom out even further, we invert the entire premise of the thing, then God's the bad guy, Satan's the good guy who was like the rebel fighter, who was like, yeah, actually, I think there's a better way. And then then the premise of this video game actually becomes even more interesting too, because you can consider that, the mother hearing God's voice, God was actually trying to kill the son of Satan. It's just like really interesting ways of thinking about it when you take different elements of the story, invert them, and think about taking the entire story and inverting it, and then making connections there. So again, I don't say that to offend anyone who has beliefs either way. I just wanted to explore the story and the symbols and think about what happens when we have video games and OSTs like this that are fundamentally darker and more demonic and are inverted. So I just wanted to explore some of those ideas because I just thought that was interesting, and some of you might not be thinking that way. So I thought it might be interesting to give some of you that, just that nugget of thought and perspective. Okay. All right, let's check out tribute credits. Well, I don't suppose this is the type of game where we get like a nice friendly credit scene where everyone's happy. So what's happening there is it actually is closer to combat music. It's got those combat type of intervals in there. In fact, we've heard that in many of the different combat pieces and parts in this OST, and it's funny how dark of a game this is that even the credits theme is like dark and heavy. And what we have there is fundamentally a 1 to a flat 2 to a flat 3, flat 2, back to 1. Okay, let's check out Genesis 1337 Retro Beats. Well, all right. Now, some of you may find that in the chat over on YouTube that I will be deleting some things you say before they actually get up to the screen, and that's because YouTube, for whatever reason, has been giving and then taking away chapters from this channel, the ability to have chapters actually spread things out. And when this channel has chapters, it grows because people go in and they see a 2-hour-long video and they can break it up, and then so view time goes up, click-through rate goes up, the whole channel starts going really fast. And then what happens is, as the channel grows fast, for whatever reason, YouTube takes the chapters away, and then the channel stops growing. And then after a month or two, they'll give chapters back, and then it starts going in and keeps on going up and down. And they won't tell me why. I've asked them like 20 times. They will not tell me why they're taking chapters away and giving them back. They're like, it could be because something's inappropriate for some viewers. I'm like, then why is it intermittently coming back? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to express to you that sometimes if I delete something you say, because it might be slightly inappropriate, I'm sorry. I do not mean to stifle your speech. I really do not mean to stifle your speech or stifle your expression and limit what you say. Please feel free to say what you say. But I am trying to walk a line where I'm trying to figure out some way to get this thing to grow. So I apologize. And maybe I'm being greedy by thinking that way. I think objectively I am, because I would love, I mean, like, with the rate the channel was growing a while ago, I would have had 100 subscribers like literally last year, 100,000. But for whatever reason, it just it tanked. And it's growing, but it's like slower because the chapters aren't there. And like a couple months ago, we had the chapters, and then it started going up. And then they were like, yeah, you know what? No. And then we lost chapters again like a month ago. It's been absolutely insane. And just, yeah, trying to walk an invisible line. This is exactly right. It's like, we're going to be totally transparent with you up until the point of telling you what's actually wrong. It's like, close your eyes, let's play darts, and we're going to spin you around 3 times. It's insane. Okay, so let's check out Hush, Jesus Loves Uke. which is funny. Instead of Jesus loves you, uke like ukulele.
Jesus loves you, can't you see? He loves you and he loves me. Jesus loves you, can't you see? He loves you and he loves me. Jesus loves you.
All right, I get it. I don't want to listen to another minute of that. Understood. That's dissonant. Got it. Well, I finally figured out that second part. Sorry about that. It's interesting. Beautiful stuff. So in the first, the thing that sounds like a Western, that's just B minor, but then the next we go to, it feels sort of like an F sharp major with a flat 2. 1 flat 2, major 3, 4, relative to the F sharp. Let's check out He's the Number One.
He's the number one, God's favorite son. His flowing robes reach down from heaven. His hands will touch you, build the world around you. The light within his heart is enough to heal us all. He will fill your soul when life takes its toll. Your only goal is to find his kingdom. His love is real, the golden seal. Trust in the book and the bread you took.
Well, there you go. We actually heard some of the combat motif in there as well. The ba da 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 da. There you go. All right, let's keep this thing rocking. We're going to read out some super chats. Let's see. Rubberman202 says, once again, another upvote for Paper Mario and the Nintendo 64. The music in particular is incredibly nostalgic to me. Certain sections even give me goosebumps, particularly towards the end. You got it, Rubberman202. Thank you for your continued support of this channel. And a shout out and a special thank you for a very generous super chat to Eugen. Eugen has been enjoying these streams. This is going towards an MMO never released outside of Japan and been shut down for almost 5 years. It's Monster Hunter Frontier. Look forward to Shantian Breakdown reaction. Thank you very much, Eugen, for your support of this channel. Thank you to everyone for joining us on YouTube. Thank you to everyone for joining us on Twitch. Thank you for anyone who watched on Kick. I didn't actually see if anyone watched on Kick. And so thank you all so very much for coming to hang out today and listen to this Binding of Isaac Rebirth OST. I will see y'all next time. Take care. And, oh, before I go, if you want to support this channel, donate via Streamlabs. You'll find the link in the description if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, it's on the main channel, you know, with all the different things. You go back onto my main screen. Thank you all so very much. Have a fantastic, phenomenal rest of your days. Take care, and goodbye.